This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Did you know veterans enrolled in VA healthcare can use over 4,000 urgent care locations across the country to treat non-life-threatening conditions? It's easy and free. Just show your Veteran Health ID card. Get the best care for veterans. Sign up at va.gov or visit your nearest VA medical center.
What's up? What's happening? Welcome to the show. This is the WarDawg Trail, episode 86. I have an amazing guest for you today. He's going screen. Before I bring him to the screen, let's go ahead and go over today's announcements. First off, this show airs every day on the military broadcast radio station. That is MBR Radio. You can download the MBR Radio app and catch the show each day from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. where you can watch the podcast as well as listen to it. As always, Sergeant WarDawg TV is your source for military, hunting, and outdoors TV with swag. All right, last year we won 2 awards. The first was Veteran Support Nonprofit Organization of the Year. We won that from Corporate Livewire. The second award was an international award in the UK. We won Leading Veteran Welfare Outreach Nonprofit Organization from Acquisition International Magazine. All right, I did finally complete my book. I've submitted it to publishers on my 3 tours in Iraq as a U.S. Marine Infantry Rifleman. As soon as I have a release date, I will update you. All right, my nonprofit, Camp Doghouse, can be found at campdoghouse.org. This is my homeless veteran shelter in the Central Florida area that is meant to act as a sort of a rebound pad for any homeless individual, any homeless veterans in the Central Florida area that are trying to get their lives back on the right path. All right, you can always find out more about me at sergeantwardawgtv.com or on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. You can also find me on X at Sergeant War. All right, you know I am a host with DV Radio. That's Dysfunctional Veterans Radio and their Barracks Talk podcast. If you want to have a good time like we did back in the barracks, back when you were active, with no judgment, with individuals from all four branches of the military, check out DV Radio on Saturday nights at dvradio.net. All right, my second podcast, Bullets, Blades, and Hooks, goes out and interviews veterans organizations that seek to get veterans into the outdoors, whether that's hunting, camping, fishing, or shooting. Bullets, Blades, and Hooks interviews the organizations that helps veterans to get back into the outdoors. All right, I am a brand ambassador for Reaper Apparel Co. So you can use my code, Sergeant WarDawg TV, for 10% off of your entire order. For you fans of SHOT Show, next week, I will be at SHOT Show in Las Vegas as a media member. I have a media pass. So you'll catch me filming brand new guns, hunting equipment, law enforcement equipment from the showroom floor. You will also catch myself and co-host Grimo 311 at the Industry Day at the Range, or the Range Day. We've been invited by Glock, by Radiant Weapons, by Horizon Firearms, Mitchell Defense, PTR Industries, and Cadix Defense to come to their range days and to shoot their new guns and film and display them to the world. All right, we are media members of the National Shooting Sports Foundation, the NSSF, which owns and runs SHOT Show. We will soon be media members of POMA, the Professional Outdoor Media Association. For all of you predator hunters out there, those of you that like to go after coyotes and wild hogs and bobcats, this is the Ecotech Helion Plus Game Caller, which offers a variety of sounds to help you take down your target harvest. Any companies interested in advertising on Sergeant WarDawg TV or the WarDawg Trail podcast, these are the outlets that you can find the video podcast on, as well as the audio podcast. All right, as always, this is Sergeant WarDawg TV and the WarDawg Trail podcast. I'm your host, Sergeant WarDawg, and welcome to the show. This is episode 86. And without further ado, I'm going to bring to the stage Mr. Orlando Shepard from I Am Scary Gunz. Welcome to the show, boss.
Man, I appreciate it, WarDawg. Thank you for having me.
All right. Let's jump right into it now. And if you don't mind, talk to us about your military background.
All right, so I joined the Marine Corps in 2001. I didn't have any aspirations of joining the military. I was just a normal kid, going about my way, and I just happened to see this dude in a uniform, and I got to ask some questions, and he hit me with all those lines that the recruiters get out of school. You know what I'm saying? He hit me with all those lines, and I fell for it. But but it ended up to be a great thing. It was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. You know what I'm saying? So it turned out great, way better than I can ever imagine. So went to boot camp in 2001. I was actually supposed to leave for boot camp in September, but 9/11 happened. So after 9/11 happened, I remember my recruiter calling me. I seen it on TV, but I also remember my recruiter calling me and asking me like, "Hey man, you still interested in going?" And I'm in my mind, I'm thinking like, "Man, why are you asking me all these questions? I already said I was going. Like, what's man?" But now that I look back at it, he was worried because for a lot of other people, they knew what this meant for the country and for our military. And me at that age, you know, kid, man, I had no clue. I really didn't care much. Um, so long story short, they ended up moving my day back. I ended up going to boot camp October 2001, and man, it totally changed my life. Totally changed my life. So I went to boot camp in San Diego, graduated, went to MCT in Pendleton. My MOS was Mortar T. So the first 4 years, I'll say the first 2 years I spent in Okinawa at 4th Marines, which was a Victor unit. Spent some time out there, learned a lot. But with that being my first duty station, it was kind of a culture shock when I came back to the U.S. side, and to see how, you know, that they do things, because, you know, early in your career, you always hear that the real Marine Corps is in Okinawa. At least that's what they always told us. Like, you know, the real Marine Corps is in Okinawa. The NCOs have more power. I don't know why, but back then that's what they always used to say. But I mean, you know, it wasn't anything crazy, you know. I mean, I say it's nothing crazy, but once I tell some story to some people, they might beg to differ, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, so I stationed in Okinawa for 2 years, left there, went to MWSS 273. That's when I went on my first deployment to Iraq, and this is when it was a heavy operation going on. We received indirect fire, so it was pretty active back then. We did a lot. We seen a lot. So I spent about 3 years there, and then I went to Paris Island. I was a drill instructor for 3 years. Left Paris Island, went to Second Tracks. Was there for a while. Left Second Tracks. Then I went to NSA Bahrain with Marcin. I was out there for about a year. Then after that, I came back and I ended up taking a contracting job overseas. So I got out 2013. Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal. I'm sorry. I did not say it loud enough and say it first that you are a fellow Marine just like me. So simplify, hoorah, boss. I am glad to have you on. That is one of the reasons that, you know, I had to make sure I got you on, because I knew I was dealing with a real Marine hard charger when I saw you online. So I definitely want the rest of the world to know that you faithfully served the Corps, and you are, you know, the kind of Marine that others would like to emulate and be like. So that's first and foremost, man. Straight up.
I appreciate that.
All right, now let's talk about your transition from the military to military contracting to executive protection.
So you know, I really wanted to stay in the military. My ultimate goal was retire at 20 years, 20, 30 years. As long as they was gonna let me stay, I would have stayed. But you know, fortunately, that wasn't in the cards for me. I ended up taking a job overseas as a contractor. Did that. So I lived in the Middle East for about 7 years.
Damn.
Yeah. Training some of our allies. I'll say that. Training some of our allies. They were contracted through the State Department. So it was a real political job, to say the least. But you know, I can't say too much because we got some guys that's still out there that's just actively doing stuff right now still. But after that, that's when I pretty much started to get really into learning what self-protection was. I kind of, talked to a few people about it, but I really didn't put that much into it. So I ended up leaving there and came back to the States. I worked corrections for 5 years. That was very interesting. And then right after COVID, Me and a buddy of mine, Black Rambo, you might know
Yeah.
him. Me and a buddy of mine, we had a long conversation, and and he asked me why was I working that, and I explained to him I like it. Making a change. I'm working with criminals, trying to get them rehabilitated to get back into society, to be a functioning member of society. And for a while I thought that was my calling. I thought that's what I was meant to be doing, but he pretty much told me, hey, you got more to do. You got, there's a lot people want to see that you do. So, we had a long conversation. And so that's when I got into the protection side of things. So I figured this, okay. I always tell people this when they ask me how long have I been in executive protection. I tell them my whole adult life. And the reason why I say that is I joined the Marine Corps when I was 18 years old, fresh kid out of high school. So I spent the majority of my life protecting things all around the world, different types of protection. You ride on the ship, you can ride on the ship, you gotta protect the ship. You got fire watch, you got force protection, you got all these things that you have to do no matter where you go, no matter somewhere in the world. There's always going to be a Marine on duty, always. Right. So I looked at that and I was like, I've been doing this my whole entire life, to the point where I'm sure you do this same thing. Once you go into a store and you see something that don't look right, you're going to start planning in your head, okay, if this goes wrong, then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. So it's one of those things that you have the skills that you have, but you want to find something to do with it. So that's how I ended up getting into personal protection, and end up going to, so I wanted to see where I stood amongst the industry as far as other guys that were doing similar jobs. So I went to one of the premier executive protection schools on the West Coast. I graduated top of the class, and then after that I was like, okay, I'm ready. And then after that I went back to teaching, and then that's when I got the call to come out on the road with Uzi. I think before him, I had like a few other clients here and there, but he's probably the biggest artist that I've had so far.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, am I understanding this right? You served with Black Rambo?
Yeah. So, me and Black Rambo was my first roommate ever in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
He was my first roommate. Yeah, my first roommate. So when I got to the fleet, I remember, dragging that sea bags, and all my stuff after I just left supply, and dragging into the room. And I see back then we called him Jasper, but everybody know him now is Black Rambo. So he looked at me, I looked at him. I know at that time he was like a senior Lance Corporal, and he didn't want anybody in his room. But once we got to talking, and we found out, hey, we got a lot in common. Everything's pretty cool after that. But yeah, my first roommate.
That's what's up, man. That's a small world.
Yeah,
that is a small world.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, he's the one that took me out. So when I first got to Okinawa, I didn't know anything. So he used to take me out on the weekends, and we used to go out in Okinawa, and he used to kind of, show me around, and he would leave me he was like, all right, I'm about to go with this chick. So you take this bus back here if you need to, or find somewhere to sleep. He's like, you can rent. I'm like, I'm new. I'm like, okay, all right. And he would leave me. And I would, and I figured it out though. So we had a great time. Trust me, we got some stories, man. I tried to get him not to tell so many stories, but man, I gotta pay him off sometimes because he's got some incriminating stories.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I'm starting a little bit of a new segment here where I'm asking the guests to tell a story about something that they experienced. So if you don't mind, could you give us just any little short story of what you went through in executive protection, any kind of story?
Okay, so I'll give you one, right? So we were in the studio one night in New York. It was can't remember the name of the studio, but it's Alicia Keys' studio. And so we were in there one night, and this guy, he sneaks. So we're all the way on the top floor, inside of the a suite. There's a studio. So you got the studio, you got the part where the microphone is, and you got a lounge in the corner. That's usually where I'm at. So I'm usually in the lounge unless there's a lot of people coming in and out. Then I'm kind of moving around. But if it's one of those nights that he's just recording and there's nobody in the studio, then I get to kind of relax. And so this particular night, I'm sitting on the couch, kind of flipping through Netflix, and I hear a commotion outside. And so the engineer, as I'm walking out, the engineer's walking towards me, and he was like, "Hey man, there's a guy that's beating on the door outside." And I was like, "Okay, let him in." He was like, "No, man, he's screaming, he's loud." And so I ended up. No, so he asked me, he was like, "Should I call the police?" And I was like, no. I mean, obviously, if you're in the studio with rappers, the last thing you want to come is the police. So I told him, no, don't call the police. Let me talk to this guy and, let me, rectify the situation. So I come outside the studio. By then, there's a whole crowd of people behind me, Uzis behind me. All the engineers are behind me. So, because they're trying to see what's going on. So I go outside and I'm talking to this guy. He has the thickest Jamaican accent I've ever heard. I'm like, I'm trying to explain to him, like, this is a studio, you can't be screaming. People are trying to record, calm down, trying to talk to him, but he wasn't having it. Like, for some reason, he was trying to get inside the studio. So he kind of ran towards me. So I grabbed him. When I grabbed him, I commenced to knocking every picture off the wall all the way down till I got to the end of the wall. So I grabbed him and I dragged him to the elevator. So I'm pushing the button so the elevator doors can open so I can throw him in the elevator. But for some reason, this door isn't opening. So now he's struggling. He's trying to get away. So, somehow his head ends up hitting the door a couple times. So after that, he calmed down a little bit. And, once I put him into the elevator, take the elevator all the way down, escort him out of the studio, take the elevator back up, go back in the studio, no harm, no foul, just some guy acting crazy, that's it. I didn't see the big deal. So I go back in, I'm kind of sitting there, doze off a little bit, and I wake up, and now I look at my phone. I got like 30 missed calls. There's executives from Rock Nation in the studio. Like, people are all over the place. And I'm like asking people like, "Hey, what's wrong? What's going on?" So one of the executives from Rock Nation come over and they was like, "Hey, is everything okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, we just had a small commotion. Guy came to the studio, trying to get in. He probably wanted somebody to hear his mixtape. Nothing serious." And they was like, "Well, we heard you, like, you beat this guy up and there was blood and there was, and they were really concerned. Like they were like, you know, like, did you hit him? How bad did you hit him? Did he bleed? Did he say anything? You know, they were real like fearful of a lawsuit because, you know, they said, you know, that happens a lot. You know, these guys will provoke a situation just so they can file a lawsuit. But, you know, like I told them, I said, you know, I can look at this guy and tell he's not filing any lawsuit. He didn't, you know, he didn't give off that impression, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, man, that's one of the most exciting times that I've had. The rest is just, man, I would say being around Jay-Z, being around, you know, Jay-Z's family, being around, you know, some of the big wigs at Rock Nation, and, you know, just being around so much Black excellence at one time, bro. It's motivating, you know what I'm saying? It's definitely motivating. And once you see it, you can achieve it. You know, once you see it in person, you see it in real life, you know, that definitely puts it into perspective that it's achievable. So, but no, man, I had a blast, man. I mean, I probably got 1,000 stories. Some of them I won't tell, just, you know, to protect those that might be in a predicament where, you know, certain things can't get out. But oh no, man, I had a blast. I had a few more clients that I did protection for. You know, there's a lot of people that, you know, that you probably never heard of, but, you know, they're very well off. So, especially in and around certain big cities, you need it. You know what I'm saying? So, security is always going to be one of those things that, you know, can't live without. Something always has to be secure somewhere, somehow, some way. But no, so far, man, I'm enjoying it. I'm looking to kind of get out the game and manage and put others in place. So I'm kind of trying to phase myself into being the boss now, so I can delegate and you know, put those guys out there that can stay up all night and party all night, and, you know, so that's the goal for me.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. Thank you for that story, bro. I was picturing the whole damn thing, and it was dope. For real, it was dope. Let's see. Let's talk about your 3 favorite guns.
My 3 favorite guns. That's pretty easy. Glock 17 or 19. Really, I'll say I'll go with the 17. Yeah, I'll go with the 17. 17 or any. Yeah, I'll go with the 17. Next is the AR-15. Or AR-15 platform. And then after that, I'll go with a 338 Lapua.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, those would be my top 3 if I had to make a choice.
I like that. All right. Now, what can people expect from you or your platform in the future?
So we're looking to help others and help others achieve what I've achieved, and to get them on the right track to achieve it. It starts with yourself. You know what I'm saying? The first rule in law is, you know, in nature, is self-preservation. So, you know, a lot of people want to get into this protection game, you know, but like I always tell guys, if you can't protect yourself, if you can't take care of yourself, how can you take care of somebody else? You know, so we've developed 3 pillars that we think is important in terms of taking these steps in order to be able to protect somebody or protect, assets or personnel, whichever it may be. Number one is physical fitness. So I'll say around February, we're going to be dropping the episodes on the YouTube page, going through different fitness routines, which is the number one pillar for us. We believe that everything starts with, how strong you are, physically and mentally. So that's one of the first pillars that we work on, is the physical fitness side of things. Like I said, episodes showing people what I do and how I achieved my fitness goals. And then we got the number two pillar, which is going to be basically self-protection, dealing with firearms, how to use firearms, where to use firearms, how to safely use firearms, how to train when you're inside an indoor range, or how to train if you have options for an outdoor range, and just kind of giving people ways to start and get out there and be active. I teach these courses, and I have a ton of people that come to my course and they've bought these pistols, and and I physically check every weapon that's on my range before it's operated. And some of these pistols that I look into, you can tell they've been sitting under people's seat for quite a few months, and dust, and I've seen it all. I've seen Skittles stuck inside guns. It's just people just when it comes to it, they kind of they'll buy it and they'll kind of forget about it. And so like I said, our goal is to teach people, to kind of, especially when it comes to weapon, to kind of crawl, walk, run type of thing, because you never want to advance beyond your skill level, and I see that a lot. A lot of people try to do certain things that's beyond their skill level, like drawing and shooting from the appendix. If you've never done it repeatedly and practice it over and over, don't think when you're in the jam and your adrenaline is pumping, you're going to operate it like John Wick and you're not going to have any problems. That's not how this thing works out. So we're just trying to teach people that there is a process to getting to where you can defend yourself with a pistol safely and putting rounds on target, not just shooting bullets out there aimlessly. So that's number two, and number three is the hand-to-hand combat. So as I want to say, so I practice jiu-jitsu. I'm not a belt holder or anything like that, but I do practice jiu-jitsu. Been practicing jiu-jitsu for some years now, probably close to a decade. But I don't have any belts. I never did it to get any belts. I just always wanted to be well-rounded. So if I'm ever in a situation and the fight is goes from standing to the ground, I'm good. Because you can watch 1,000 of these fight videos. When a lot of these fights end up on the ground, these guys turn into cats. They're just trying to scrape and scratch to claw to get away. So I do a mixer of both boxing and kickboxing and jiu-jitsu, just so I can stay well-rounded. And as an executive protection agent, that's the last thing you want to do. We're around a lot of people, and there's a lot of people with cameras, and if you get caught with your pants down and you end up on TMZ, your career is over with. There's been some guys out there that's that got punched and got knocked out, and it's been all over social media, and their careers ended. So and I encourage guys to know how to defend yourself, because when that went down in the studio, everybody was standing back and just watching me. So that's what's gonna happen. If push comes to shove, you end up in that situation. Everybody's gonna watch. So you're gonna have to show and prove. So if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. That's what I believe, and that's what I live by.
Damn right. Damn right. Go ahead and let everybody know where they can find out about you online.
So we have the Instagram. We have the Instagram, which is I Am Scary Gunz. That will be a lot of my correspondence is usually social media. At Facebook, I'm Orlando Shepard. TikTok, I think I am Orlando Shepard. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to keep up with all these handles.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to book me or for training or schedule some classes, contact Waverly Bailey at 713-808-5335. She does all the coordination with the time and the date. So if anybody out there wants to book a training or some type of event, make sure you tap in with her, and she'll get it all set it up, and she'll get it to me, and we'll have a blast.
All right, that's what's up, boss. You got any final words you want to say to the people, to the viewers and listeners?
Man, I appreciate you, man, for having me first and foremost. And to all the viewers out there, keep watching, share, like, subscribe, and let's push this thing forward. You know, if he wins, we all win. So that's the type of mentality we have to have. We have to push each other forward. I'm a firm believer, if you help somebody, then that's going to come back to you tenfold. So I'm always about helping people. I'm always about collaboration, especially for veterans. You know, man, I couldn't imagine growing up that I would be a part of a community that hopefully my grandkids will learn about. You know, as history changes, you know, different wars come about, and this was the last war that happened that was significant, you know, for the U.S. So that automatically, you know, I tell people all the time, the guys that I grew up with, meaning the guys that I was raised with and was in the Marine Corps with me around that time where this war was going on, like we set like the standard for everything tactical that's being taught, teached, and learned right now. Everything from the room clearing, from different tactics. Marines is who set that standard. And just to be a part of a community that will go down in the history books, I'm just thankful to be a part of it. I'm just thankful to have been born at a time, and you know, I'm thankful that I was able to be a part of, you know, I don't want to make it sound like such a good thing, but I mean, for a lot of us, we learned a lot. You know, we at the same time, we lost good people, but we learned a lot. A lot of us became men in those years. And you know, I'm just thankful to be a part of a brotherhood that we can share that history. It kind of reminds me is when I look at the old Vietnam vets and the old World War II vets, you know, those wars were significant for this country. And, you know, and because of that, I think those vets should be held to, should be regarded in a high standard. And I hope someday they do the same for us. You know what I'm saying? When we got the TFW hats on, you know, with the pins in it.
Oh yeah.
But you know, man, I just like to say, man, I'm glad to be a part of a tight knit community that changed the world, man. Of veterans, man, for this, for a part in history that, man, I don't know, I can't explain it, but I'm just glad to be a part of it. That's all.
All right, then. I feel you on that, man. Well, I want to thank you again for coming on the show, boss, and for telling your story, for giving us insight into what it was like as a Marine, and then now in the executive protection world with the high-level clientele that you get to work with. I really appreciate it.
Oh, man, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 86 of the WarDawg Trail podcast. We've had Mr. Orlando Shepard. He's a Marine veteran. He's an executive protection specialist. He's also a firearms instructor. All right. This has been a great episode with him. Thank you for coming on the show, boss. And you enjoy the rest of your day now.
Yes, sir, man. Likewise.
All right, brother. Salute. Take care. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. This is episode 86 of the WarDawg Trail podcast.
All I know is war. All I know is shoot. All I want is more. But I got some things to do. I'm a dog of war. Hell's what I've been through. I'm a dog of war. I did it all for you. I'm a soldier, I'm a warrior. Got an emblem on my cover. And ask me what I did for ya. I put the trash deep down under. Yeah, I'm a dog of war. Hell's what I've been through. I'm a dog of war. I did it all for you. Yeah.
Took some time in the place, man. I just needed some space. All the pain show in my face and my heart starts to...
That's the show for today, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with an all-new show. And remember, you can listen to us again and again. The podcast of this radio show is available right after we go off the air tonight, anywhere that you can get your podcast episodes. And thanks for joining us today. I'd like to take a moment to talk about something close to my heart. Military Broadcast Radio is doing incredible work to support our veterans and bring their voices to the world. They rely on your generous donations and your dedicated volunteer hours to make it happen. I encourage you to consider supporting NBR in any way, form that you can. Use this QR code that's attached to the picture, or you can go to our website at mbradio.us. That's Mike Bravo Radio.us to learn more about how you can donate or volunteer even just an hour a week from your home. Help make a difference in the lives of our veterans, because once again, we're all here for you and not for us. We're giving our veterans a voice.